It's been a windy and wild weekend at NOLA Motorsports for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup's first 2021 round. Welcome back to GRIDLIFE Live. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Tom O'Gorman for our fourth and final race of the weekend in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. This series has taken the grassroots racing world by storm. Since its inception in 2019 at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, we've seen over 100 drivers a season compete in this championship with cars from all different makes, models, sizes, with drivers from all over the country, Tom. But this weekend, we've seen some of the best racing I can remember, especially in the mid-pack. Eric Cattila has won 3 of the 4 races. We've got one more to contest, and he will be starting back in 9th because that is our field invert from race number 3.
Yep, GRIDLIFE Touring Cup wheel-to-wheel racing. We've done 3 races so far. This is race 4. And we earn points per driver for every single race. There's a points championship involved here as well. Eric Cattila's got that one pretty closely locked up as long as he just finishes this one. But there's a bunch of drivers in the season championship, or in the points championship for the weekend. That aside, though, race 4 is always one of our favorites. Typically one of the most exciting because we always do between 4 and 12 cars inverted at the front of the field. Today's random draw is 9, which promotes the 9th place finisher from race 3, Ronnie Solomon in the yellow S2000 up to the pole position to start alongside Eric Meadows in the silver MX-5 alongside.
We've seen amazing racing all weekend long, specifically in the mid-pack. A lot of new names and new faces. One of the drivers, Rains, who's been up there battling for podiums. And this is such a competitive field that if you jump in here in your first race weekend and you're inside the top 5, you've done something. And I would not put anybody out of the question for winning this race. I think Eric Cattila's car is super strong out front. I don't think it's the strongest car when you put it in traffic. We saw just behind Luke McGrew, it took him a couple laps to get the job done and get out front. He'll be starting all the way back in row number 5 for the start of this race. So Cattila's got a lot on his plate.
And that's that white Civic leaving the frame just there as we drone shot over the cars leaving the pit lane. But Andrew Rains, it may be a name that no one knows about when you come to a GRIDLIFE event, but Andrew Rains has raced in Pirelli World Challenge in TCA and in touring car. He's got race wins across the board, does a lot of endurance racing, and actually is the founder of Apex Pro Data Systems, which a lot of drivers use in their time attack and HPDE worlds, even road racing worlds. So that driver is super experienced, and actually got to talk to him. He was doing some racecraft stuff that we didn't even notice from up here that allowed him to maintain that 3rd place position, even though his car is probably only 5th or 6th fastest on the grid. He's going to start a little further back in the field, 7th on the grid in that black BMW. Going to be a bigger challenge since he's not the fastest car. But I think when it comes down to racecraft, that 719 is real quick.
2.8-mile racetrack here, 16 corners. We saw battles mostly on the first half of the racetrack, but also down into turn 13. But one thing I love about this track is this final sector, really 13 through 16, a lot of switchbacks and a lot of racetrack width. Now, the challenge here is the inside still has some water up against the curbing. So if it comes down to the last lap, last corner, what side do you pick? Do you pick the dry side that's the long way around or the wet side that's the short way around?
Well, that's the cool thing. These corners we're looking at from the drone shot overhead are turns 3 and 4, and they're big increasing radius, late apex sweepers that are completely flat. And when I mentioned Andrew Rains was doing some racecraft trickery, he actually let people go up the inside on turn 3 there to make sure that he had the inside for turn 4. So there's a lot of calculated moves, some racecraft things that you can do if you're creative that maybe not the most obvious, but you can absolutely make things happen. I think the storyline is how the cars make speed. The fastest lap time cars are fast in places that is really hard to pass.
Well, another unfortunate storyline that I just got updated on, Luke McGrew's ECU has failed, so he will not be participating in this race, which is a real shame because he was battling with Eric Cattila for the top spot in race number 3. He will not get that chance in the final race of the weekend. Thankfully, I think, well, is it any cheaper to lose an ECU versus an engine? Maybe not.
I don't know. If you want to do a quick count of the grid as the cars pass underneath, the next car in frame, that black and white car, is the Acura RSX of Jeremy Boysen. He starts 3rd. Then the red Miata of Scott Robertson will move up to 4th position on the inverted grid. Justin Lee is in a black MX-5 with a big wing on it. He will start 5th alongside Todd Cayley in a silver S2000. Then it's Andrew Rains and Eric Cattila, who we've talked about. They will start next to each other. Those are all the inverted cars. Then it is William McDonald, Patrick Reyes, Brian DeFries, Dane Bird, Dyson Pham's actually not taking the green. Oh, he is at the back. He made it back out. So Dyson Pham will be fun to watch in this one. That is the full grid running down.
Coming through turn number 13. This is the last time they'll do it this weekend under this pace. Next time they see it, they'll be heading into this corner at well over 100 miles an hour. NOLA Motorsports Park, incredibly fast, momentum-based, and almost 20 of our best GLTC drivers taking the green flag here in just a moment. Turn 14 and 15, they're rounding now.
Look at that lake.
And doubling up. It's going to be a big problem for these drivers. Side by side up onto the front straightaway for the final time under pace conditions here as the green flag is in the hand of the starter. We'll wait. And Ronnie Solomon and Eric Meadows on that front row as they come to the green flag. It's not up yet. Now it is. Green flag flies. The final race of the weekend in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup at NOLA Motorsports for GRIDLIFE Bayou Bash is underway as they thunder down towards turn 1. 3 wide, Boysen in the middle as they charge towards the first corner.
Look at Justin Lee making it 3 wide up, splitting Jeremy Boysen. Todd Cayley goes around the outside, and they're way down yonder. There's turn 1, and it's going to be Ronnie Solomon in the lead. Look at Scott Robertson up to 2nd place. Eric Meadows back to 3rd. Todd Cayley with a rocket start. He's all the way up to 4th from a 7th on the grid.
Boysen got squeezed out over the edge of the rumble strips by Justin Lee. Lee down the inside of Todd Cayley on the binders and the ABS, and now he's side by side with the Silver S2000. Meadows runs wide. Robertson going for the race lead on the inside. He's got it away from Solomon.
And it's a huge tank slapper for Solomon, but he's back on the brakes. They're almost 3 wide. Meadows drops tires into the lakes. But now Solomon comes back, rallies from the mistake, and takes the lead back from Scott Robertson for a second, but there's still 3 right. Andrew Raines through the pond.
Car off big time. Is that the 2nd place car? Oh, is that Robertson or is that Meadows who's gone wide? I think it's Robertson. So he's gone off the racetrack, gets all 4 tires back on the black stuff as they head down towards turn number 6.
So now it's Solomon, Meadows, and Justin Lee up to 3rd. Eric Coutille's up to 5th. He's in the red and white car a little bit further back, but that car's the fastest car when it gets clean air. Jeremy Boysen taking a look in that black Acura RSX into the S's for the first time. Dyson Pham is all the way up to 8th now from the back of the grid.
Where did he come from? Solomon leads the way through the S's now, stringing left, right, back and forth at speed here in GLTC. Look at Eric Coutille. Look at all the ground he gains. Up the inside of Boysen. Torque gets slammed shut as they head down to the left-hander. Now Solomon increases lead up to 4 car lengths as they head to the braking zone.
Watch him on the brakes. Jeremy Boysen protects it. That's well done, but Justin Lee dives up the inside. It might be a touch. No, they make it through. And Eric Meadows well seen in the mirrors, and that actually allowed Andrew Raines to get back around Eric Coutille. He's back to 5th.
Oh, that was really dicey. Lee was way deep in the braking zones, almost a side swipe there for 2nd place. Boysen up to 3rd. Solomon's going to lead the first lap if they come out of turn 16 the way that they entered 15, now down the front straightaway.
Look at this cluster, the top 10 all glued together. GLTC streams under the start flag stand for the lap 1. Ronnie Solomon has a little bit of an advantage. Here comes Jeremy Boysen with a run on Eric Meadows. Those two have not been able to escape each other all weekend. We're side by side a little further back. Andrew Raines protecting from Eric Coutille into turn 1, not able to hold the position. Jumps the curb as Todd Cayley gets one too.
Solomon increasing his lead now. Eric Meadows running about 10 to 15 car lengths behind. Boysen closing in now as they head towards turn number 3. Justin Lee back there as well. Raines, and here comes Eric Coutille. His weakness is going to be able to pass cars in the S's. That's a tricky spot to do it, but he can do it everywhere else.
Side by side for Coutille and Raines. That's the big black BMW with the Civic up the inside. I think Coutille will be able to take this pretty easily because Andrew Raines is on a treaded race tire, not a racing slick tire. Coutille's on those slicks, as is everyone else around. They're going to splash through those puddles, and Coutille with the advantage. Boysen's up the inside.
For 2nd place, Jeremy Boysen in the RSX is through, and now can he close in on Solomon out front. Meadows to 3rd, Justin Lee 4th with Eric Coutille breathing down his neck as they go to turn 6.
Ronnie Solomon's gotten a gift from all this bickering back and forth. He's got nearly a 2 or 3 second lead in the yellow S2000 way up the road. Boysen 2nd, the silver MX-5 of Meadows is 3rd. Justin Lee's hanging in there in 4th. Coutille up to 5th from 8th on the grid, but Coutille has a problem. He pulls off.
Coutille's slow, and he's won 3 races this weekend. He will not win a 4th. He's got problems as he heads through the S's for the race lead. Solomon's lost a bunch, and here comes Boysen in the RSX. 1 car length between them. 1 car length from 1st down to 4th as they stream towards 13.
So there's questions of actually who's driving the car. Andy Smedgaard is listed as the entrant, but Ronnie Solomon's been driving the entire time. Andy Smedgaard said he was going to make Ronnie do this race, but there's internet chat speculating it's Andy. We don't know. It's a mystery, but either way, he's got the lead, lost a bunch of ground, and this is the top 8 clustered together. Meadows shows the nose on Boysen. No opportunity. Justin Lee rolls some big speed through the apex, and they're nose to tail, top 8 all the way through. Where did Eric Coutille go? Is he in the pit lane?
Smedgaard told me that Solomon would be in the car, but they might have made that decision last second to switch. Boysen drag racing him down the front straightaway, nose to tail as they head towards turn number 1. It's a great battle. Dyson Pham's up to 7th. Raines is up 2 spots from where he started. Robertson still in 8th, trying to hang on.
Side by side for Raines and Lee. That's the 5th and 6th cars on track. Now Ronnie Solomon off through the puddles. He bails out of that one. That was not a mistake. That was intentionally. He did not turn into the corner on purpose, so something wrong with that car. Eric Meadows is now in the lead. No, Jeremy Boysen's in the lead. Eric Meadows 2nd and Justin Lee 3rd.
Yeah, so whatever happened to the 212 car off, and they're 3 wide behind him for 4th place. There's Todd Cayley around the outside, Pham on the inside. Is that Lee in the middle of it, or is that Rains? That's Rains as they come out and head to turn 4.
That's Rains. Now keep an eye on the silver S2000 in the background. We're talking weekend championship. If Todd Cayley wins this race, he can win the championship over Eric Coutil, because Coutil's not going to finish this one, and he doesn't have enough of a buffer, even though he's won all 3 races so far. If the silver S2000 finds some pace, he's all the way back in 7th, though. It's going to be a tall order.
Great racing up at the front here. Only 5 minutes in. We're basically a third of the way done. So much racing left to do. In the 212 car, I don't know if he got back rolling. He still stopped there at the exit of what is turn 1. He's actually in the straight section that we don't use here, so he's well out of the way. We should be able to continue clean and green.
So there's the Andrew Rains car, the black BMW, Todd Cayley, the silver car, Scott Robertson. I almost wonder if they had a touch between 2 cars would put Scott Robertson off, and he's all the way back there in the 7th spot now. Boysen running away through the S's. That Acura RSX has been hooked up. He's found his way around this track pretty quickly. Look at Dyson Pham's got a big run on the back of Justin Lee. Pham in the blue S2000, deep on the brakes.
On the brakes, on the binders. Going to aim for the curb, jump it. 2 tires on it, but Lee's going to hang on for now. Also keeping an eye on Todd Cayley. Last time by, he ran the fastest lap of anybody. Purple for Todd Cayley's number 161.
Well, talking to Todd, he's got one of the fastest cars, but he just can't really race it. There's not enough power in that S2000 off the corners to battle anybody. The places where it's fast, it's all the momentum sweepy stuff where it's hard to make anything happen. Dyson Pham, though, in the blue S2000 doesn't seem to have that problem. Look at the speed he's got on Justin Lee, challenging for 3rd.
Great battles going on for 3rd place. Jeremy Boysen is in command of this race. I don't think he's ever won a GLTC race before. This would be his first. As they head down to turn number 1, the battle is still on in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup.
More side-by-side for Todd Cayley up the inside of Andrew Rains. They're on the exit curb of turn 1, but Cayley on the outside, not going to be able to complete the pass. And Scott Robertson has the door open for him. He's going to shuffle Cayley back to 7th now. So Cayley wanted to win this one to win the weekend championship, and it's looking like he might only do 7th place. Holy cow.
He's going the wrong direction, but Boysen's going the right direction. Can Eric Meadows close in? Last time by, he was about 0.6 of a second slower, so he needs to start eating into that time that RSX has out in front of him. But Boysen's been so strong this weekend, and now we get to see his strong front-wheel drive car out front like we saw Coutil's earlier in the weekend.
Yeah, been making consistent progress on that RSX, but the battle for 2nd, Justin Lee is looking really racy on the back of Eric Meadows. And Eric Meadows is always kind of a quiet force in the top 10 of GLTC. He runs a very subtle, plain silver MX-5 with no arrow on it. It doesn't look very assuming, but he's always in the battle. Justin Lee makes a move up the inside for those S's. That's for 2nd and 3rd. They're side-by-side. Is there overlap? No, Eric Meadows shuts the door.
I was wondering if they would work together. They're sort of teammates running a very similar car setup, but it doesn't look like Justin Lee wants to play ball, and you want to know why? Because that's not Justin Lee. It's Dyson Pham.
Yeah. We got that one wrong. The blue S2000 of Dyson Pham is the one looking racy, not Justin Lee, and Pham is really confident on the brakes here into turn 13. Is he going to do it? Yes.
Up the inside, Dyson Pham for 2nd. Last time by, he was the fastest car on the racetrack, 157.308, his fastest lap of the race, and if he can get to 2nd, he would certainly be disruptive to Jeremy Boysen's lead.
Dyson Pham missing race 3 for some reason, starting at the back, but he was on sticker tires, had a bunch of speed in different areas this weekend, but it hasn't been the smoothest weekend for him. Had some contact in race 1, but he's got the run up the front straightaway. The S2000 has a motor and a half in it tonight, and he is going to clear Eric Meadows easily down the front straightaway and set his sights on Jeremy Boysen. He's got, what, 7 minutes to get it done? I think he might be able to get there, although we say that, Jeremy Boysen, fastest lap of the race.
156.983. The clock is ticking. Can he hang on? Dyson Pham's only other GLTC round was back in February. Feels like ages ago at Circuit of the Americas. He was very good there. He's very good today. Up to 2nd place as they head through the 1st sector.
Todd Cayley showing the nose on the inside at the back of that front pack. That is a pass for Scott Robertson, and he gets it up the inside. There's still side-by-side exiting turn 3. That corner goes on forever and ever, but Scott Robertson hanging the outside, inherits the inside for turn 4, and is going to shuffle Cayley back into 7th place after that challenge.
Update on Eric Coutil. His exhaust broke and his fuel tank was getting very, very, very hot, so he has dropped out of the race for exhaust problems. Meanwhile, the race continues up front. It will not be a weekend sweep for the 2020 season champion as they head towards the S's one more time. And I think the 212 car is actually moved, and he's actually in a less ideal place now. He's just in front of the corner station entering the S's. That means there will be a yellow flag in that sector now. So he's kind of moved to a less optimal location, Tom, and that's going to be an issue, I think.
At the front, the race is on. Dyson Pham has shut the gap completely down to 1 car length. The blue S2000 looks a little behind in the S's, hunting in the mirrors of the RSX.
Here he comes.
He's deep on the brakes. Whoa, way up the inside.
Oh,
super confident.
He's got it.
Easily takes
What
it.
a move by Dyson Pham to the top spot by a car length now as they head through 13 and 14. Dyson Pham's blue S2000 has gone to the top spot. Meanwhile, behind him, Robertson and Cayley scrapping for, I think, that 6th spot.
That's it's actually 6th and 7th now, yes. So Andrew Rains gets a breather as those two continue to race. Dyson Pham, I suspect, will start to pull a lead out over Jeremy Boysen, and sure enough, it's already up to 3-4 car lengths. Now the question becomes, will the race for 3rd happen between Meadows and Lee?
Well, there's going to be a caution flag somewhere in the first sector. That's going to create a little bit of an issue. It's going to be a local caution flag, so we will not, of course, have a full course yellow here. We stay green at the main flag stand for now, but this is going to limit passing opportunities here in this first sector here.
So in GLTC history, Eric Coutillo's actually had that problem before, but I've got the weekend points in front of me. As long as Cayley, McGrew, or Rains did not win this race, Eric Coutillo had that locked up. With McGrew not taking the win, with Cayley back in 7th and Rains only in 4th, or 5th, I should say, Coutillo is safe on the weekend championship.
Dyson Pham has never won a GLTC race. This is only, I think, his 7th ever because he missed the race earlier in the weekend here. But sweeping through turn 5, he has a sizable chunk of a lead now, 10, 11, maybe 12 car lengths. And 3rd place, Eric Meadows, is a ways back with Justin Lee behind him. But Dyson Pham has control over this race as it stands here, Tom. And with the caution flag in that area, it's going to be hard for anyone to gather momentum to go run him down.
Well, it's not really a passing zone, to be honest. You can kind of force the issue into those S's. Right there, we're looking at the caution. So as long as you're not getting a run out of turn 6 through turn 7 into those S's, you're not really losing an opportunity. But Dyson Pham, speaking of opportunities, driving from the back to the front. I don't know how many times we've had last place go to first place in GLTC. I think it's happened once or twice, but he's now checking out from this field. Look at Justin Lee about to pop into frame, getting up to the back bumper of Eric Meadows. MX-5's going at it.
Yeah, a couple cars that are prepared very similarly, one with aero, one without, as they head through 13.
Cayley, big slide for Robertson, and that's allowed Cayley through. That was just a mistake on the downshifts on the brakes for Scott Robertson, and unfortunately, that is going to promote Todd Cayley up into, unfortunately for Scott, that's going to promote Todd Cayley up into 6th.
White flag in the air, one more lap around for Dyson Pham. He could get his first ever GRIDLIFE Touring Cup victory here this afternoon. Boysen is going to be a couple seconds back, 2 to be exact. He's got to run him down. For 3rd place, still a battle. Andrew Rains back there in 5th, watching the 2 in front of him, maybe smelling blood in the water. They're streaking on through now, and I think we're back green over in the corner station where the 212 car was located. He has been pulled behind the barrier, so we should be able to continue without any impedance to our progress here. 3rd place, Meadows and Justin Lee still battling for that. There's about 6 car lengths between them, but it's far from over with about 2.5 miles left in this lap.
I almost wonder if Jeremy Boysen used his car up a little too much early on in this race. He's falling back into the clutches of Eric Meadows and Justin Lee, and it's happening fast. Look at that car, just does not want to turn. He may not have a lot of front tire left on that front-wheel drive Acura RSX. Luckily, he's only got a half a lap left, but those two are coming quick.
Final lap through turn number 5 and into 6 now. Dyson Pham's lead continues to stretch in that S2000. He's been strong all weekend, and we knew that he'd be competitive. There's a car off and maybe smoking at the exit of, I believe that's turn number 3. So there was a car turned around, didn't see who it was, but certainly off, and I don't know if I saw any damage on it, but that's there for now. It looks like they're back rolling, whoever it was. So we'll focus forward again towards the S's because Pham is out front and about to win this race, Tom.
Maybe Patrick Reyes further back in the field. I'm looking at an S2000 profile with a wing and taking a guess there in the dark, but the battle for 3rd is not done yet. Justin Lee has a run on Eric Meadows at the final S. Does he get brave on the brakes? He's about to pop into the screen. No, he's all the way up to the bumper, but it was super close. Meadows protects it.
He tried. Todd Cayley on the back of Rains right now, but as they come through turns 14 and 15, Cayley is there. He wants to grab 5th spot away, but as they come out of turn number 16 for Dyson Pham, a solid weekend will lead to victory. His first ever win in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup from the back of the field to the front. A brave move in 13, gets it done. Dyson Pham wins at NOLA Motorsports. 2nd place, Jeremy Boysen. 3rd, Meadows. 4th, Justin Lee. To the line now for 5th, Rains and Cayley, 5th and 6th. And the rest of the field going to stream on in one at a time. There's Scott Robertson bringing it home in 7th, and that was a troublesome race for him. He had such a great start, Tom, but then it all went wrong from there. And a couple other cars having issues throughout the race. Across the line now is William McDonald. He will come home in a very quiet 8th place. And Patrick Ray is, again, the car that you assumed was the one that was around in the first sector. That might be the case. With a couple more drivers, Dane Bird, Brian DeFries still finishing up their laps. Another incredible race. A wild one, though, from a bunch of different aspects.
We don't typically see a 10 cars covered by a blanket, but we had it for about 2.5 laps there before attrition and mistakes started to set in. I do wonder if Scott Robertson hadn't had that issue that put him off in the grass on the left on that first lap, if he'd have been able to drive away a little bit, because he had just taken the lead for a moment, and that was one of his strongest performances. But really strong, really strong composition from Dyson Pham to drive from I think it was, 17th on the grid when all was said and done, all the way up to the win.
Yeah, and again, that's Dyson Pham's first ever victory. He joined the series back at Circuit of the Americas in February and ran really well there, and I knew that if we could get him out to run some other events, he would be competitive. This was the only other one that he could make this season, and he has shown to be a force, especially with the invert. He drove through everybody, but of course, Eric Catil, the way things ended up, I think he'll be the weekend champion here, which par for the course. As it stands, Eric Catil, a winner from last season overall in the championship by 4 points over Aaron Lichty, starting off his season very strong with 3 wins and a DNF.
Yeah, the door was open with that DNF. Todd Cayley, Luke McGrew, and Andrew Rains all had the opportunity to take it, but they didn't get it. Didn't get it done. They would have had to have won. So I think our top 3 on the weekend points is going to be Eric Catil, Todd Cayley, and Andrew Rains should be our podium when all 4 races were said and done.
GRIDLIFE Touring Cup's 2021 season has begun. Our first round is complete. We're using the 2021 rule set. We'll be back next year with more GLTC racing, but that's going to